Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another upload of It's a Dyer Thing. Oh my God, you birds, don't you start. It's Rob. Thank you very much for tuning in this evening. So, question for you guys is, what does a motorcycle, a headset, and a phone all have in common? Yeah, that's right. Me. So what are we going to discuss this evening is actually phones, motorcycles, actual motorcycles, not the toys, and headsets. It's basically in regards to motorcycles and using your phones, I guess your mobile devices or GPSs or whatnot, whatever it may be. First off, yes, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of you guys or just some public that are going to say, well, you should not be riding a motorcycle and having a phone at the same time and this and that and so on and so forth, as much as, you know, you shouldn't have this on your car. But bear in mind, with all the groups that I've been riding with and the amount of times that I've been riding or people that I've seen, I would have to say it's an extremely rare occasion that you see actually a motorcyclist with a mobile device in usage. Now, I'm saying when they're actually riding compared to, don't get me wrong, I mean, even I do it as well. When we're in a car, we're definitely much more likely to actually, you know, check something on their phone real quick, as much as, you know, we have the screens on in the car to, you know, dibble and dabble on doing whatever we need to do, you know, whether it's maps or stuff like that, right? So you know, like I said, much more likelihood to actually mess around in our car when it comes to mobile devices and or electronics, whereas on the motorcycles, I think we tend to either have them in our jacket or mount them on the bike and basically leave it there and actually not use it. For myself, I definitely use a mobile device when it comes to maps and, you know, kind of directing me as to, or giving me kind of like a reminder as to, you know, where I'm going and you know, what is coming up ahead. So over the past few years, and I'll kind of put up some of the pictures as we're going along, over the past few years, I've been using RAM mounts, which I continue to use today, just due to the fact that the quality and you know, the pricing is fair, the quality is fantastic. I would say the past 3 bikes I've been using, I used those claw style mounts, right? They're great, they hold on really nice. The only thing I have found sometimes is those little rubber tabs, so the X grips, I think they're called, right? So those little rubber tabs that are on the actual grips, they tend to loosen after a while, so they kind of slip up a bit. So you got to keep an eye on that if you do go with that product. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. But some of the mobile devices that we have out there, you know, you'd have like multiple buttons on each side of the phone, which, you know, would cause interference, or which cause, you know, either to accidentally go up in your volume or go down in your volume, or even turn it on and off, or even to an SOS function, right? So that's the only downside about these X grips. So you really have to kind of adjust them for them to kind of be where they wouldn't interfere with any of the functions of the actual phone. But the problem is by that, you know, it would either kind of like hold it off, you know, center and stuff like that. So it wouldn't really look good. So there are a couple of different options out there I've seen. Again, RAM mounts, X grips, from little pockets, zipper clear bags with a clamp that goes on your handlebars, or multiple different fixing points onto your motorcycle. One of the latest or the newest additions to motorcycling was a company by the name of Quad Lock. So these guys had kind of captured my attention last year when you started to see some announcements and this and that and some advertisings and kind of like, yeah, whatever, it's just probably another gimmick. But then I started researching a little bit more, and back then I was still running my Apple iPhone 8 Plus. So for the most part, I didn't want to go into any big investments. It was just a basic phone, whatever like that. So I kept with my X Grip. But anyways, it was a evening that we met up. Where was it? I think it was down in, Leslie and Lakeshore. I think it was where we normally do our Thursday night meetups. One of our writing buddies by the name of Jim, he had come down showing his new bike, which is absolutely fantastic. I had noticed on his bike, his phone was mounted right in the middle of the handlebars, just like where you can see, or you've seen on some of the pictures. I'll upload them up again. Right in the middle of his bars, and it just looked clean, like it was like super duper clean, no clamps, no grips, no whatever like that, right? No BS. So, and I had noticed one of the components of it was kind of blue, which fell back onto, oh my God, that's a quad lock. So I asked Jim, I said, hey, do you mind if I take a look at this thing? And he's like, yeah, no problem here, right? So he takes it off. And so he hands it over to me, right? And so this is where we're gonna go take a look. So basically what it is, I mean, I'm sure you all have seen it or have read about it. It's basically, it's a phone case, right? But on the back of this phone case, it's, here you go. So on the back of the phone case, it has the system for a quad lock. But look, if you look here, look how thin that is, right? So it's not where it's sticking out and where it becomes a nuisance when it's not being used on the bike. And that was the thing that caught my attention. That was what I actually liked, just being, because I don't want to carry all different kinds of cases around and protection for my phone depending on what I'm doing, right? So I like to have one basic simple setup. So last year on the iPhone 8 Plus, I was running kind of like a UAG guard, right? So it's almost similar to like an OtterBox Defender kind of thing, which covered the phone and whatnot like that. And then I would put it on the clamp, and then I would take it off the clamp and I would put it in. Well, this year I am now running the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So it's a big phone, right? I mean, the reason why I went for this big phone here is just due to the fact that it's a full screen, and the clarity during daylight time is absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to riding this year with this one on the bike, because, like I said, it's a full screen, so it almost looks like almost like a proper GPS kind of system. So I wanted to go with a case that I could use that wouldn't make this big phone even bigger, right? So here we go, right? So now I've just basically put this quad lock case on the actual Note 10 Plus. So you can see like how clean it is. It looks really, really well without taking up any more room and making this big phone already bigger. So the nice thing about this is when you do put it on your quad lock mount, it takes up no room. It doesn't connect to anything where it would, here, let's get this on so I can show you. Doesn't take up any clamping system, so it wouldn't accidentally press your buttons and do whatever it needs to do, right? So here you can take a look, right? So now the phone is actually locked on into its place. So basically then from there, you would take your RAM mount. They have different kinds of mounts. So basically go to the Quad Lock website, go to their website, you can check it out and see what they have. Like I said, this is not endorsed or sponsored or by any means affiliated with Quad Lock. It's just basically a user, a writer like me, like you, kind of, passing off the information to anybody who's kind of searching, right? And is kind of somewhat unsure as to what they can do. This is definitely a positive review from my side of things. I think it's quite neat. So I basically have the phone case onto the extension. I use the short extension, and then it goes to another ball. So basically I use this other ram mount, which is what I used last year. That's just going to go around my handlebar. So basically you can get different sizes and whatnot, and adjustable ones, universal style mounts as well, right? So again, it's all basic ram mount systems. Mount it up onto the handlebar, and then basically I can kind of show you. I can unloosen this. I'll put this in here, tighten this up, there we go. So there you go, right? It's mounted up onto the handlebar assembly, or wherever you may want it for your own personal use. But then this thing is like super solid, but not only that, but it's like super clean. There's nothing out of the way, so I mean it really ties in super nice with the bike. You can then turn around and go get yourself different options of mountings. So if you have a car and you don't have like that touchscreen on your car or whatever like that, and then you can go with kind of like a big suction cup system here, right? Which are, you know, easy, inexpensive upgrades that are just adapters to your system, and or, you know, if you're going off ATVing and or whatever it may be, just different options, right? So, and when you're done, if you can see it here, yeah, you can see it here. So you just basically unlock the system, rotate, and it's off, right? So there you go, back to that. This stays onto the bike, right? So that stays onto the bike. That comes off. When you can rotate it at 180 degrees, right? So you can put it in and rotate it again. So you can definitely do all different kinds of options for mounting the systems onto your bikes, so that you have direct access to your maps, or you know, if you need to play your music or you need to do anything. Like I said, most of us users, bike users, operators, we don't be playing on the phone anyways, really. It's just there as a safety precaution, as a guide, and not as a toy to play with, compared to many of the cars out there. So anyways, my recommendations, I totally think this is cool. I really actually am fairly impressed with it. There is just the one tiny small flaw, how smooth it is. I would suggest, if anything, is make it a little bit more grippy. Like, you know, either get a soft kind of like a silicone feel rubber, so it just doesn't slide around so much in your hands. Because I mean, as much as you want to on your bike and it's super secure on the bike, don't get me wrong, the second it's off the bike and it's in your hands, it's now getting slippery, right? So I can easily see somebody kind of putting it on or taking it off, and as they're doing that, it kind of slips out of their hand and then falls down to the ground. They're going to be equally as mad as it was if they were using anything else. So that would be my only recommendations to you guys at Quadlock, is try and find a little bit of a better finish, just so it grips a little bit more on their hands. Like even my hands are kind of now warmed up and everything like that, and it's still slippery. So other than that, that's the only flaw I can see. For the most part, I think these things are pretty cool. In regards to pricing, again, I can only refer to the Canadian pricing, and right now we are during the holiday seasons, be quiet. So there are quite a few deals going out there. So I mean, if you are looking for picking up something for your, your riding partner, buddy, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be, man, look at these things. These are things that are really cool, and I can assure you almost any biker would be very, very pleased to have it. Tons of different optional mounts for them. Your general pricing around, in Canadian funds again, you're looking at around at $69, so $70, which technically speaking isn't so bad, because by the time you get a good quality case, you're already at the $40, $50. Mind you, yes, there's equally, $10 cases and stuff like that, but by the time you do that, you go out and you get the X grip and you get the mount and you get the connector and stuff like that, you're already looking at almost close to $100. So for $70, $80, you can have everything and still be super clean without having to swap things back and forth, right? Again, that's the biggest key, is being able to keep your phone in the case on and off. So you're out riding, and then you all meet up at the place where you're going to go have a bite to eat as a gang. You take it off and you just walk in, and without having to mess around trying to get your phone off of the case and this and that and then out of the bag or whatever in the holder. So quad lock cases, Note 10 Plus. Super duper happy. If you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, do feel free to write it out. And again, thank you very much for your subscriptions. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Give us a thumbs up. Any questions, like I said, you may have, I will definitely respond back to you guys. Thank you for your support. Be safe, be good, have fun. Till next time, keep it covered. Ciao. Kiwi, God, you're such a noisy bird. Jeez, I try to do something and you're like, ta, 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 ta. Yeah, shut. Oh boy. Alrighty.